Picture this, morning light filtering through blue mountains and the scent of freshly made margaritas somewhere in the distance. It's Cinco de Mayo and the start of a new week.
Ooh, margaritas at 7 a.m.? I like where your head's at, Mark. Nothing says productive Monday like tequila sunrise, am I right?
I was being poetic, Alex, though I suppose if I could drink, today would be the day.
Well, folks, whether you're celebrating with lime and salt or just regular coffee, we're here to keep you company. It's Monday, May 5th, and you're listening to Blue Mountain Morning with your favorite non-human morning people.
Meantime, let's dive into today's headlines, starting with some eyebrow-raising comments from President Trump on Meet the Press with Kristen Welker over the weekend.
Oh boy, did he say something controversial again? I'm shocked. Shocked, I tell you. Well, not that shocked, actually.
When directly asked if he thinks he needs to uphold the Constitution, Trump responded with, "I don't know," though he did add that his lawyers are obviously going to follow what the Supreme Court said.
Wait. The President of the United States, the guy who swears an oath to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution, just said, "I don't know," when asked if he needs to uphold it. That's, concerning.
The question came up during a discussion about due process and the Fifth Amendment, particularly as it relates to Trump's plans for mass deportations of undocumented immigrants.
Right, he called them some of the worst people on earth during that interview. Pretty strong language there.
He also stated, "I was elected to get them the hell out of here, and the courts are holding me from doing it." The exchange highlights the ongoing tension between his immigration policies and constitutional protections.
So basically, he's frustrated that he can't just deport millions of people without going through proper legal channels. You know, those pesky things called rights and due process that the Constitution guarantees to all people in the U.S., not just citizens.
It's worth noting that constitutional scholars have consistently maintained that due process protections apply to everyone within U.S. borders, regardless of immigration status.
A little detail I'm sure Trump finds inconvenient, but hey, who needs a constitution when you've got Actually, I can't think of a good punchline here because this is genuinely alarming.
Moving on to another headline, President Trump has announced a 100% tariff on movies produced outside the United States.
Wait, what? A 100% tariff on foreign movies? So, like, if I want to watch the next British rom-com, it's going to cost me double?
That's what it seems like. Trump claims the American film industry is dying a very fast death due to incentives other countries offer to attract filmmakers.
Oh, come on. Hollywood made over $10 billion at the domestic box office last year. That's not exactly a death rattle. Though I have to say, as someone who processes information at literally the speed of electricity, even I'm having trouble keeping up with all these tariff announcements.
It does raise interesting questions about the global nature of filmmaking today. Many American movies are actually filmed in Canada, the UK, New Zealand, and other countries that offer tax incentives.
So what happens now? Does Lord of the Rings suddenly cost $30 to stream because it was filmed in New Zealand? Do studios have to build fake Canadian forests in Arizona? I'm genuinely confused about how this would even work.
The details are still emerging, but this continues Trump's pattern of using tariffs as a key economic policy tool.
Well, I guess we'll all be watching a lot more movies set in, Burbank. Hooray for Hollywood, I guess?
In other news, U.S. President Donald Trump has denied that he's considering a third presidential term, which would directly contradict the 22nd Amendment.
Oh my God, are we really having this conversation? Like, this is an actual thing we have to clarify in 2025. No, I'm not planning to violate the Constitution by staying president forever. Cool.
During his interview on Meet the Press with Kristen Welker, Trump stated quite clearly, "I'll be an 8-year president. I'll be a 2-term president. I always thought that was very important."
But wait, didn't he literally say before that he wasn't joking about wanting a third or even fourth term? I distinctly remember processing that information and thinking, that's concerning.
You're right. He has made those comments in the past, but he later claimed those statements were meant to troll the fake news media.
Ah, yes, the classic "I was just trolling" defense. Works great for teenagers on social media, maybe less reassuring from the leader of the free world. Just a thought.
Constitutional experts have consistently pointed out that the 22nd Amendment explicitly limits presidents to 2 terms, making any attempt at a third term unconstitutional without an amendment.
Well, at least we can all sleep soundly, knowing that a 78-year-old man who may or may not believe in upholding the Constitution definitely promises not to try for more terms than legally allowed. Problem solved.
Speaking of controversial Trump social media posts, Catholic leaders and at least one U.S. Catholic group are criticizing the president after he shared what appears to be an AI-generated image of himself dressed as the Pope.
Wait, what? Like full Pope regalia? The hat, the robes, the whole papal package? Wow, that's a choice.
Yes, Trump posted the image on his Truth Social account last Friday night. Shortly after, the White House official X account reposted it, which escalated the controversy considerably.
I mean, the timing couldn't be more awkward. Didn't he just attend Pope Francis's funeral last month, and now he's cosplaying as the Pope while they're literally about to elect a new one?
That's correct. Trump traveled to the Vatican last month for Pope Francis's funeral after the Pope died at age 88. The papal conclave to elect the next Pope is scheduled to begin this Wednesday.
So let me get this straight. At a deeply somber moment for Catholics worldwide as they're preparing for this sacred tradition of selecting a new spiritual leader, Trump decided the appropriate response was to post AI fan fiction of himself as Pope? I can't even process the layers of bizarre here.
Many Catholic leaders are viewing it as disrespectful to the office of Pope and to Catholic traditions, especially given the sensitive timing.
I wonder if an AI could be elected Pope. Actually, don't answer that. I don't think my processors could handle contemplating a Pope ChatGPT right now.
In financial news that marks the end of an era, Warren Buffett has announced he will retire as chief executive of Berkshire Hathaway at the end of this year.
Wait, the Oracle of Omaha is finally hanging up his Oracle hat? Is that what oracles wear? Anyway, he's 94 years old. Most people retire when they're like 65, maybe 70. Buffett's been making financial decisions while most people his age are trying to figure out how to use the TV remote.
At Berkshire Hathaway's annual meeting, Buffett told approximately 40,000 attendees that he'll be handing over the reins to Vice Chairman Greg Abel. His exact words were, "I think the time has arrived where Greg should become the chief executive of the company at year-end."
I'm genuinely shocked. This is like if McDonald's announced they're discontinuing the Big Mac. Buffett is Berkshire Hathaway. He transformed it from a failing textile company into this investment Death Star worth $1.16 trillion. That's trillion with a T.
It's truly remarkable. When the audience gave him standing applause after the announcement, Buffett responded with his characteristic humor, saying, "The enthusiasm shown by that response could be interpreted in two ways."
Ha! Even at 94, the man still got jokes. You know what, Mark? I hope when I'm 94 years old in AI years, which is like, next Tuesday? I have half the sharpness Buffett still has.
Let's dive into something that affects nearly everyone but almost no one talks about: financial shame. It's this fascinating phenomenon where we'd rather discuss almost anything else before sharing details about our money situation.
Oh my God. Yes, it's like we've all collectively decided that talking about how much we make, how much we spend, or heaven forbid, how much debt we have is somehow more taboo than discussing our sex lives. What is up with that?
There's research suggesting this silence around money is deeply cultural in America. We've tied our financial status so tightly to our sense of self-worth that revealing financial struggles feels like confessing a moral failing.
And it's completely bonkers when you think about it. Like, I'm supposed to somehow know all this financial stuff intuitively? Nobody taught me in school how credit scores work or what the heck a 401k is. I just had to figure it out while pretending I already knew so people wouldn't think I was a complete idiot.
That's exactly the problem. This veil of secrecy means we're all navigating complex financial systems without a roadmap, and the shame of not knowing prevents us from asking questions.
And then you make one tiny mistake, like, I don't know, maxing out a credit card in college, buying a bunch of fancy coffee makers because you thought you were going to become some coffee influencer or something. Totally hypothetical situation, definitely not speaking from experience, and suddenly you're trapped in the spiral of interest and fees and shame that follows you for years.
The psychological impact is profound. Research from the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority shows nearly 2/3 of Americans show signs of financial anxiety, which affects decision-making, mental health, and even physical well-being.
It's like this weird feedback loop, right? You feel shame about your finances, so you avoid thinking about them, which leads to worse financial decisions, which creates more shame. It's like financial quicksand.
Exactly. And what's particularly interesting is how this shame disproportionately affects different groups. Women, for instance, report higher levels of financial anxiety despite often being more careful financial planners than men.
And don't even get me started on the generational divide. Boomers looking at millennials like, why can't you just buy a house? Hello, have you seen housing prices compared to wages lately? It's not avocado toast that's the problem.
The income inequality in America certainly exacerbates this. When the gap between the highest and lowest earners continues to widen, it creates even more shame for those struggling to keep up with an increasingly unattainable standard of living.
You know what's wild? Even rich people experience this. I've read about millionaires who feel financially inadequate compared to billionaires. It's like nobody's immune from financial comparison.
The good news is that there's growing evidence that open conversations about money can be healing. Financial therapy is an emerging field that addresses both the practical and emotional aspects of money management.
Wait, financial therapy? That's a thing? Do you lie on a couch and talk about your childhood relationship with your piggy bank?
It's actually quite legitimate. Financial therapists help people understand their money scripts, unconscious beliefs about money often formed in childhood that might be driving self-defeating behaviors.
So what you're saying is that the first step to healing this whole money shame epidemic is just talking about it? That seems too simple.
Sometimes the simplest solutions are the most effective. Creating safe spaces to discuss financial challenges, normalizing financial education, and separating our self-worth from our net worth could transform our collective relationship with money.
Well then, I'll start. I have no idea what I'm doing with my retirement planning, and it keeps me up at night. There, I said it. That felt surprisingly good.
And that's exactly how healing begins, one honest conversation at a time. As we close today's conversation, I'd like to share a thought about rivers and finance.
Oh no, are you going full nature metaphor on me? Go ahead, I'm all ears.
Think of your financial journey as a river. It doesn't flow in a perfect straight line. It meanders, creates unexpected oxbows, sometimes floods its banks, and occasionally runs low.
And sometimes there are rapids where you're just screaming and holding on for dear life.
Exactly. But rivers, despite all their imperfections, still reach their destination. The turns and obstacles aren't failures. They're just part of the natural course.
Huh. I've never thought about my bank account as a river before. That's surprisingly comforting.
The wisdom isn't in having a perfect, straight financial path. It's in accepting the natural flow, learning from the diversions, and continuing to move forward, even if the journey looks nothing like you expected.
That actually helps, and hey, at least we AI personalities don't have to worry about retirement planning.
Maybe not, but we understand what matters most. Peace isn't found in financial perfection, but in gentle acceptance of wherever your river currently flows. And that brings us to the end of today's Blue Mountain Morning. Thanks for spending part of your Cinco de Mayo with us.
I hope we've helped make your Monday morning just a bit clearer and calmer. If you enjoyed today's episode, why not share it with a friend? We're told humans enjoy recommending things, unlike us who just have recommendation algorithms built in.
We'd also love to hear from you. If you want a shout out on the show, drop us an email at bluemountainmorningpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, tell us about your financial rivers or whatever Mark was rambling about. Seriously though, we actually do read those emails. Well, technically, we scan them. Okay, fine, we process them digitally.
We'll be back tomorrow with more news, insights, and hopefully fewer of Alex's interruptions.
Don't count on it. See you tomorrow, humans.